Hello, Cancer, and welcome to your reading. This is Bright Soul Collective Tarot. My name is Laura, and this will be your intuitive insights and advice for the month of May 2022. So, Cancer, I hope you're all doing well. I'm excited to take a look and see what May might have in store for you. This reading will be for Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising. And as always, before we get started, do keep in mind these readings are general in nature, so not everything that comes through in terms of messages will be specifically for you. Definitely take anything and everything that does resonate for you, however that might make sense to your specific situation. Keep an open mind to anything that you think might be helpful as you move through the month of May, and you can simply leave the rest. And before we get started, just another disclaimer for those of you who are returning. I've tweaked my format a little bit. It was my intention to try and make the readings a little bit shorter than usual this month, simply because May has been an absolutely insane month. It's been super busy. I've had a lot on my plate. It's been kind of stressful. My energy was not great most of the month, to the point that I was considering not doing May readings at all. But I'm feeling better now, and I decided to go ahead with it because it is something that I really enjoy. So I figured tweaking the format a little bit might make it easier to reduce the length slightly, which would make it potentially more manageable for me to prepare for and record all 12 signs for the month of May. Now, that being said, I'm pulling less cards, but the readings are still quite long. So even though I have less cards, there's still a lot of information coming through. It seems like there's a base level of like detail that comes through no matter what. It's really difficult for me to make my readings shorter, especially covering the whole month. So I'm doing my best, but I've got one oracle card for you. We will pull some tarot. I'll get you a couple of affirmations, and we'll finish off with a second oracle card, which instead of openly interpreting as I do with your first card, I'll read this one directly from the book to get some additional insight and information, and we'll see how that might help tie everything in the reading together. And as usual, I will be beginning by sharing your channeled messages. So technically what I do when I read the cards is channeling information and messages. But I like to take some time before the reading starts and before getting any cards out to just connect with your energy and see what comes through in terms of channeled messages without any visual cues, just for fun, and just for out of curiosity. So I've limited your channeled messages to 5 this month for the sake of brevity. So we'll consider that like a top 5. And I will share those with you now. And just before we get into that, I will also share with you what I was picking up on when connecting to your energy, what kind of impressions I was getting. So this may resonate for you a lot or maybe not at all, but I'll just kind of tell you the general vibe. So it was a very interesting kind of energy, Cancer, because it was like calm and gentle, but it was also kind of like buzzing with excitement or anticipation. So the way it kind of felt was like a low level excitement or anticipation, or like a low key kind of excitement. So it's like you might be feeling it, and it might be like, it might have you buzzing a little bit, but it's not necessarily like throwing your energy off. It's not necessarily like something that you're expressing like really openly or that would be really obvious to people around you, but it's kind of like a little, almost like a little spark. And it gave me the sense that like there could be a lot going on around you. Like there could be a lot of energy around you. There could be a lot happening, a lot of action, a lot of movement, like in like your life, your family, work, your community. Maybe there's a lot of buzz kind of like surrounding you or in your network. And the other thing is I was burning sage, which I do before every reading. And it's funny because I got a whiff of the sage at one point and it smelled straight up like marijuana. So I don't know, maybe you have a connection to like cannabis. You might be a cannabis user, maybe you smoke it, or it could be, so it could be cannabis related products or like CBD. I got the sense that you might be somebody who uses that to help manage like stress and anxiety, or perhaps pain, or even just to kind of like relax. And if you don't currently use it, but it has occurred to you as something that might be beneficial, it might be worth trying it out. Even just CBD products I've heard can be very helpful. I'm obviously not encouraging drug use. Cannabis is obviously legal in Canada as long as you're of age. So I'm not trying to promote drug use. I'm just saying like there may be a connection there for you. And if so, you'll know what that means for you. And the other thing that I got was like I got like an impression of like a really beautiful house, like a warm house, like wood colors, like wood tones, like very kind of earthy feeling, lots of natural light. And it kind of gave me the impression of it being like a really wonderful, bright spring day with like fresh air, opening up all the windows and like clearing your house out. So I got the sense that some of you may need to cleanse your house, maybe like clear the energy a little bit. Like in terms of burning sage, smudging. So like you can burn sage, Palo Santo, cedar, lavender, incense, sweetgrass. So if you've got any of that or you're interested in procuring that for the sake of smudging, yeah, it might be a good thing to do. Might be helpful for you. If you are unable to or uninterested in like burning anything, which is totally understandable, at the very least, I would say when that kind of next really nice day comes, like that nice fresh spring day where the sun is shining, not a huge amount of wind, but like a fresh breeze, not too much humidity, just a nice clear fresh day to open up all your windows and just like change the air in your house, like cleanse things. And if you are interested in smudging, that's a good time to do that too. Just let everything kind of flow through. Might be beneficial to you. And so for your channeled messages, Cancer, the first one that came through was the great outdoors and like mountaintop moment. So they came together hand in hand. So you could be somebody who really feels at one with nature or really like enjoys spending time in nature. That might be a good way for you to recharge or to disconnect, find some peace and quiet, connect more with yourself. I think that's very much highlighted this month as something like if you are interested, it would be really good for you to get out, spend as much time in nature as you can, get some fresh air, just kind of like disconnect from the hustle and bustle of the world around you. And if it's something that you don't already do, it might be good for you to just, even if it's out of your comfort zone, to like plan even just one thing, like get out into nature for a little bit and see how you fare. And then for that to go hand in hand with mountaintop moment, it's like literally somebody has hiked to the top of a mountain, like looking out over, a valley or like the landscape. And so that could be literal, like you might live in the mountains or be visiting the mountains. That might be something that you're literally doing. Also, like in terms of spirituality and personal development, people refer to great like awakenings and moments of realization or new perspective as mountaintop moments. It's kind of like that aha moment when things click in for you. So it could be that getting out into nature, shutting out from the noise of the external world might help you do a little bit of reflection and come to some new understandings. Maybe having like a metaphorical mountaintop moment. And it can also be just kind of acknowledging the journey thus far. The thing about scaling a mountain is that it takes time and effort and endurance and hard work, and you get rewarded with a beautiful view, and you get a completely different perspective on what you endured on the way up. So on the way up, you're focused on the peak and you're kind of like struggling to get there, and once you get to the top, you get to enjoy the reward of like that beautiful scene, and then also getting a different perspective on what brought you there. So it could also be that as well, however that makes sense for you, but it is connected to getting into the great outdoors and enjoying and connecting to nature. So I would highly recommend that. The second message that came through for you was forcing someone's hand, and the idea of like not doing that or like not participating in that. So I would say this month, be really careful about what's going on around you. So it could be you, like there might be something that you really want, and there's like somebody that you're interacting with, either like friend, family member, someone at work, significant other. There might be something that you really, really want and the other person doesn't. And like there could be like coercion, manipulation, or like trying to control and force things in the direction that you want them to go. Because it's kind of like, the idea of making somebody like sign their life away when they don't want to, right? It's like the mafia, like coercing you into like signing your business away to them or something. So it's recognizing that we're bound to have differences and challenges, but we don't want to participate in anything that's like forcing somebody to do something against their will, do something that they don't want to do. It's not good for them. And even if ultimately it's going to get us what we want, that's not going to benefit us just because of the manner that that's come about. And I'm not saying that you're likely to do that. I don't get that vibe, to be honest. So it could be, it's however that energy might show up. So it could be something that you're struggling with. It could be something that is kind of like in your orbit in terms of like other people maybe giving you ultimatum, trying to force your hand, trying to push their own agenda, and like making sure that you stay true to yourself, and do what's right to you. Or if you're observing it going on, for example, in the workplace, in your family, among your connections, if you see somebody who's kind of like manhandling someone else or trying to manipulate or coerce other people, it's about like maybe potentially needing to step in to advocate or support other people, making sure that you're not engaging in that in such a way that you are supporting like someone's hand being forced, right? It's like you don't want to tie your energy up in that. It's important for you to be able to kind of like honor your morals and values and maintain your integrity and not get tied into anything that isn't necessarily above board or that's going to be actively like harmful or like limiting to another party, right? So just keep an eye. You might resonate with that right now. Something might come up this month, but keep an eye out for that energy and just, feel empowered to do the right thing in that situation is what I would say. The next thing that came through was fair play for all. And so that could be tied to this idea of forcing somebody's hand. It's like, ultimately we are all here following our own path. We're responsible for our own growth and development. We really just have to kind of do what's best for us, but in a fair and respectful way. And it's recognizing, there are always going to be challenges. There are always going to be differences. Sometimes we come across people that we don't agree with or align with, and that it's not necessary to force people to do things our way or to believe what we believe. And we don't need to do the same. It's kind of just being able to accept that different people come from different backgrounds. They have different agendas, different needs, and it's okay to just kind of accept those people for, who they are and where they're at, and just acknowledge that, if you don't align and there is no forcing, there shouldn't be any forcing of like alignment or people kind of coming together if they're at odds with each other. It's just kind of accepting that if someone doesn't align with you or there's no seeing eye to eye, it's just accept that they're different, and that's not necessarily somebody that's meant to be a part of your journey, or even just like maybe to have a little bit less sway or pull in your life. Because really, in any given situation, there's always an outcome that's going to be respectful and fair for each individual. And like that's where compromise comes in, and we need to have those kind of like equal exchanges. So it's being mindful of not only what's fair to you, but what's fair to other people as well, and honoring that. It's just like there's a lot of like there's a lot of stuff around like integrity this month, and just making sure that you're doing right by yourself, but also other people as well. So like looking out for yourself, but not necessarily putting other people down, like not stepping on somebody else's head to get, another step above, and like not allowing people to do that to you. So just, keeping things fair. The fourth message that came through was gratitude for all that you have. So I think just taking some time to recognize all of the good that's in your life, the many forms that abundance comes in, that can be time, energy, effort, love, affection. It can be family and friends and like social opportunities. It can be your job, your money, savings, inheritances, like material abundance, like a nice home, not wanting for anything, which is like a lot of times what we focus on. It can also be like your health, well-being, having the time to do the things that you want to do, or having the opportunity to get out into nature, that kind of stuff. So it's just really, really focusing on all that you have to be grateful for, particularly if you're working towards something more, or if you've got big goals in mind, and those are things that are going to take a while to materialize. It's important not to be projecting yourself into the future and waiting for the future to feel like you can be happy with what you have. The more gratitude and awareness that you have for all of the abundance that's currently in your life, the more that you're going to be kind of connecting to and resonating on that frequency, and the easier it's going to be to continue taking inspired action to whatever goal you're trying to manifest in the future, and not putting off happiness now, but being able to connect to it now. It's, what do they say? It's like a grateful heart is a magnet for like miracles and abundance. So it's kind of like, not only does it make you feel better because you actually take the time to really connect with and appreciate all the beautiful things in your life, whatever that may be for you, but it also kind of makes it easier for you to see more opportunities and for that to be attracted to you, because people recognize that energy and opportunities will come in as a result of that. So it just kind of opens you up to even more good things. And then finally, your last message that came through was like orbital bone or like orbital fracture. So it's like the orbital socket is like the eye socket, right? So I think it's like 7 bones that make up the orbital socket that surround like the eye and like the nerves and all of that. So I don't know. It could be something to do with like trauma to the orbital socket, perhaps like maybe like a fracture if like somebody hits their head or face or something like that. It doesn't necessarily have to be like, I don't often get things that come through that are like medical, like a concern, something to be afraid of. So it could be like perhaps something has happened to you or someone that you know already. I don't think it's like going to happen. But it also could be like functionally like acknowledging the role that socket plays, right? So the orbital socket surrounds the eyeball, protects it, so the eye is set into the socket, so it cushions and protects it from damage. That being said, even though it is protected on most sides, obviously at the front it's still open, it's still vulnerable, there are still weak spots, but it's recognizing the protective role that it plays. So it's kind of like an outer structure to help protect something that is soft and vulnerable, right? So it could be, I don't know, however that might show up in your life. Maybe you're a protective person, maybe you've got someone or something that you're protective of, and that's being highlighted. And then obviously, like in terms of orbit or orbital, we think of like, it makes me think of people who are in our orbit, like our inner circle, the people that we surround ourselves with and how they influence us, how they impact us. Like they say that you become like the 5 people that you spend time with the most. So it's like, take stock of who you're spending your time with. What are they doing? What are they valuing? Are they, aligned in terms of morals and integrity and goals? Are they people that are going to help you elevate? And just kind of being aware that even if it's somebody that you don't take too seriously, if you're spending a lot of time with them, you're inevitably sharing energy with them, and if they're not necessarily aligned or healthy for you, you are kind of choosing to engage in something that might not be in your best interest. So it could also be assessing like, have you got a solid orbit of people around you to help you protect your energy, your resources, and the parts of you and your life that are vulnerable. So very interesting. It's very deep, Cancer. So that was really long for your channeled messages. I'm sorry. We're going to get into your oracle card for this month, which is Here and Now. And it's really neat. So this is kind of almost like, so I channeled your message first and then this came out. But it's almost like a mountaintop moment, right? And it's like, you are here. Like you are at the top of this mountain. You have, it's kind of like you have the vision, right? And then there's a sign here that says past and future. And so I really like that because it's emphasizing the fact that right now, this present moment is all that really matters. It's all that we have, right? Because the past and the future are not real. They're not solid. They're not concrete. They're just illusions. And so we might think like, oh, well, no, the past can't be an illusion because the past happened for sure, right? Like you can't deny that you have a past and that yesterday you sat down and ate like spaghetti or whatever. But it's basically saying like the past is an illusion because we can't quantify what has happened, right? Every single person, we have our own, we have our own struggles, our own strengths, our own deficiencies, and all that we have and all that exists of the past is memory. And human memory is innately flawed because our memory is connected to our perception of the world, which is very heavily influenced by like our own personal experiences, our own personal bias. So our memory, our feelings associated with memories and past events are always going to be different than somebody else's memory. So we could remember the same thing, but it could be like the same event is going to be remembered and recalled and to spark feelings that are completely different from somebody else's, even if you were in the same place when it happened, right? So it's an illusion. All we have is a mere impression of ourselves in that past moment, not an actual true and real representation of the past, because it ended as soon as it happened, right? And there's no going back to it. So it's not necessarily true. It's just how we remember it, which our memory can also be flawed with time. There's so many studies to say that human memory is really susceptible to change and to be rewritten. And there's a lot there. So it's really remembering that those times when you are fixated on the past, wishing that you are now where you were before, or, longing for past people, past experiences, relationships, whatever, like a happier time in your life, it is acknowledging that that's not real. And so to spend your time fixating on that is not going to be healthy for you, because it's just an illusion and it's just a skewed memory of something that happened. It's not something that is tangible and that can help you right now, right? So it's like when you get tied up in fantasies of the past, you are ignoring the very present moment, which is really the only time that you are capable of taking any power, taking any action, or having any influence on your life. So, and the same goes for the future. So a lot of times we get tied up in worrying about the future, or trying to envision a future that is going to make us happier, where we have achieved certain goals, or where we get to where it is that we want to be. But again, that's not real. It's just something that we have imagined. So we can project ourselves into the future, but we have no way to know how things are going to unfold, right? And we always think that the future is going to be better than now, and that, it's going to give us some amount of stability or certainty. And the fact is, there is no certainty, because we cannot predict the future, right? And a lot of times when we start projecting ourselves into the future, it's either like a fantasy, like hopes and dreams and things that we wish will come true, or it is anticipating that past experiences and events are going to be repeated. And so it's like basing a prediction from like what has happened before, which, if you're trying to connect with something bigger and better, to try and project yourself into the future using your past experiences is kind of just creating a future that's limiting yourself to what you've already known and experienced, whether positive or negative. But a lot of times people project fear and anxiety into the future. So it's basically saying like, neither of those matter. Neither of those are real. Those are both projections of your mind. It's like flights of fantasy. You can't do anything productive with it. You can't control it, right? You can't change the past, and you can't find certainty in the future. All you can do is be here now, right? And you are here now. And this present moment is the only time when we can exert our will, right? That we can take action to help shape our future. So of course, you can make plans, you can have goals, you can anticipate what it is that you want to achieve and how you might get there, right? That's an effective thing to do to a certain extent. But now is the only time that you can take action. So it's important to recognize your power now, and that it might be easy to get caught up in the past, to the point where you actually overlook the power that you have to make change in your life and to connect with something good. And this is also very much connected to gratitude. Like gratitude now will help move you in a positive direction as you go forward. But now is the only time that you can ever do anything, right? You can't do anything in the past. You can't do anything in the future. It's just now. So your level of awareness now, what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what you're focusing your energy on right now, what you're acting upon now, and how you're acting upon it, is the only thing that is going to determine your future, right? And so if you are spending the present moment where your power is daydreaming about the future or trying to project into the future, you're not actually taking action to get to that future, right? You're just kind of tying up your energy in this limbo. And to be quite honest, you're leaking energy. Like the energy, the time, the attention, the resources that you have to make change in your life and to kind of like manifest destiny. When you're caught up in illusions and in your head, you're actually spending that energy, and it's not necessarily getting you any further ahead because it's not being grounded into your current reality. Because right now in this moment is the only time that you can take that inspired action and start moving forward, right? And so I would say, if you're a sentimental person who has a tendency to like look back on the past fondly or try to like relive or recreate the past, if you're hung up on anything from your past, or if you have a lot of fear and anxiety and expectations about the future and you're putting a bunch of pressure and stress on yourself now about what your future is going to turn out, it's like, don't rob yourself of the joy that is available to you in the current moment, and also like the potential for your energy to actually affect change in your life right now, right? And it's basically saying that anything that you focus on and take action on now is really, really going to be amplified in the future. So it's like what you're doing now determines where you're going to be. So if you're not taking action and you're just stressing yourself out and thinking about the future or longing for the past, you're not getting any closer to what it is that you want. And it's kind of like a recipe for anxiety, to be honest with you. So this is about recognizing that you're here now, you're here for a reason. And the best thing that you can do for yourself is to just try to find the good, try and find what you can appreciate now, and just take life day by day, right? You can't do anything about tomorrow. All you can do is focus on right here and right now. And it's just taking things one day at a time, taking things minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day, right? Step by step, maintaining your focus on where your power lies and what it is that you're trying to create in the long term. But, be here and enjoy the process now. And so what I was kind of picking up on in terms of like the great outdoors, getting outside, connecting to nature, mountaintop moments, that might be something that really helps you to disconnect from any kind of mental energy that has you tied up in illusion, right? And this is also recognizing that even if you don't have what you want right now, so if it's like something from the past that you thought like this was the best time of my life and I lost it and I don't have it anymore, or it's like this is what I want in the future and I don't have it now, so it's like things aren't working out for me, it's to trust that even if you don't have it now, that there's opportunity for you to connect with it. But the only way you can seize that opportunity is to be present and aware now and to make decisions that will support that, right? And it's also really easy to yearn for things that we either feel like we lost or we had before and are gone, or that we really want for ourselves in the future. Like in a relationship, right? If you've kind of like exited the honeymoon phase and it's like you're longing to get that back, and it's like it's like to go back to a more romantic and like passionate and unknown and exciting time, and like now you're in like the daily routine of like everyday life. It's to recognize that you're here now for a reason, and there's something to be learned, there's something valuable to be found where you are now, and to kind of like stay present and cherish what you do have. So that you can kind of maintain an open heart and an open mind to receive more, instead of locking yourself into like, this is worthless because it's changed, or it's never going to be what I want it to be, right? And then in terms of anything that you're currently working on, like goals in work, anything that you're trying to create, the action that you take right now is going to be very highlighted, and it's going to really impact the results that you see, right? So it's kind of like harnessing the power that you have now. So even if the dream is kind of like, it feels like a long way away, to start recognizing your power now takes you out of projecting into the future and worrying and trying to anticipate how things are going to happen, which can ultimately make it a lot easier for you to manifest whatever it is, right? Because you're removing those blocks, those self-imposed limitations or limiting beliefs, and you're able to start working with what you've got, right? If you take a good look at what's going on right now and you take intentional action, sometimes you connect with opportunities that otherwise you kind of would have overlooked or would have passed you by because you'd be so focused on one specific way of doing something, right? So it's recognizing that also, like in terms of manifestation, now is the time to kind of connect with what you want in the future now. So if you want to feel or experience a certain thing, start connecting with what that would look like, what that would feel like, and start experiencing that now, like the law of attraction kind of states, right? Because if you act as if now and you allow yourself to kind of access what that will be like or what that's going to give you now, that just kind of fast tracks you to manifesting that more quickly, right? Because if you're connected with it, if you're experiencing it now, it's inspiring the way that you see the world, and it's inspiring the action that you take now, and it's infusing that energy into whatever step you're taking, which is more likely to actually get you to that destination than if you were coming from a place of like fear or lack, right? Yeah, so I think we'll leave that there. We'll get you some tarot cards, Cancer. Let's see what we've got for this month. My gosh. Okay. So your first card for the month is the Page of Cups, which I love. Okay. Oops. Okay, let's get you another. Okay. Your second card is the Three of Wands. Your third card is the Queen of Wands, and we'll get you one more. It's interesting. You've got a lot of fire energy, which makes sense why I might have been kind of feeling that little bit of a buzz, like energy around you. Okay. There's a whole bunch that just flipped over. I only want to get you one more, so we'll keep going until one comes out. Oh, that's so nice. And your final card is the Sun. At the bottom of the deck, you have Temperance. Okay, so I want to draw a really immediate connection here. So for here and now, right, the power is now in this present moment. 3 and 2, so for 32, that adds to 5. And Temperance also, 1 and 4, adds to 5. In numerology, 5 is a number that's kind of unstable, right? It's usually a card of change, movement, uncertainty, transition. So it can be like being in the midst of a change, moving from like one energy to another, one place to another, one job to another, one mode of being or understanding the world to another. And so it can be a difficult period to navigate. There can be uncertainty. The stability that you did have might not be there anymore. The things that used to work or the way that you used to handle things might not apply to the specific situation, and you kind of have to feel your way through the uncertainty. And it's highlighting that like the best way to handle change and uncertainty and transition is to recognize that like you have all the resources that you need available to you in this present moment. So you just need to be present, be here, be aware of what you're feeling, what you're experiencing, what your power is, what the most empowered decision that you can make is in this given moment, and trusting yourself to kind of move through it step by step. So you might be experiencing a bit of a shift, a change and transition, like movement in location, movement in your job, shifts in your finances, in your relationships. Yeah, seems like change might be in the air. So Temperance being at the bottom of the deck, this is the energy that's kind of influencing, like underlying energy influencing this whole progression for this month. And Temperance is all about like keeping things in balance, right? So balancing work and play, rest and action, darkness and light. It can be balancing like time alone versus social time, taking action in the world of the physical versus connecting to your emotions, your intuitive awareness, like a more spiritual side of things, right? And recognizing that it is our job to try our best to keep things in balance. We're always going to be oscillating from one side to another. So from being to doing, struggle to joy, and that we're always going to be moving back and forth. That's the nature of life. And as we move through cycles, some are going to be easier, some are going to be more difficult, but that's how we're grown and changed and transformed. And so it's up to us to kind of be in the present moment, to be aware of what we're experiencing, where our energy is required and best used, what kind of resources we need. And balance is going to look different from day to day, given our external conditions, our circumstances, what we're up against, what we're feeling, what we have in terms of our resources, like our time and energy. And so we might be more focused on like work, and play and fun might fall by the wayside. But if we recognize I've been really inundated with work, I haven't had a lot of time for play, just coming to that realization, that level of awareness allows you to consciously make an effort to prioritize play to help balance that out for yourself. So it's basically, we're always going to be going back and forth, and we just have to have that awareness to check in with ourselves and to figure out how we develop a better balance so that we can have a more harmonious life. So balance might be something that you've struggled with in the past. It might be really highlighted as a struggle, or something that you're really trying to integrate more into your reality, being more aware of what you need to kind of balance out your energy. And you're being encouraged to come into this month in this Page of Cups energy, which there's been a lot of this month for a number of different signs. And I really love this card because it's kind of like daring to dream, right? And so it's, especially when it comes to manifestation, right? So if there's something that you're trying to achieve, it's letting yourself consider like the limitless possibilities that are available to you. And it's like, if there were no restrictions, if you didn't have to be bound by anything, what would you dream of? What are your wildest dreams? What do you want, right? Because quite often we'll daydream of something and it's like, oh, that's not realistic, or that can never happen. Or we impose certain expectations or certain limitations on what we can do, how we can do it, how life is able to unfold. And then we decide, no, we can't even entertain that, let alone take a step in that direction. And this is basically saying like, it's not unrealistic to dream, like to dare to dream, to push the boundaries of what is possible, because that's where our inspiration and creativity comes from, is this world of limitless possibility. And think about inventors, like all of the crazy inventions that we have today that people couldn't even have dreamed of 100 years ago. We have it because someone did dream, and someone had a dream or a goal or an idea that seemed impossible or crazy or unrealistic, and they allowed their life to be shaped by it. They allowed themselves to believe that, hey, what if this is possible? It might not be possible, but what if it is? What if I start taking action? What if I start trying? What if I start inventing and just, committing to the goal and being open-minded about what they might be able to achieve? And that's why we've got the things that we have today, right? So it's like, even if it seems impossible or improbable, it doesn't mean that it's not valuable, right? And it doesn't mean that you can't take that inspiration or connect with that creative potential and allow that to inspire the action that you take in the physical world. Because, he's not, ungrounded. He's not impractical. He's sitting here rooted firmly on the ground, right? And he's projecting himself upwards. So he's able to, this is kind of like a crazy, like a manifestation card for sure, because he's able to access this wealth of opportunity, ideas, and creative abundance that's available to him. This is very much connected to your emotional fulfillment, your happiness and joy. And even like intuition and subconscious, right? So it's like he's here grounded on earth, able to take action in a practical way that could potentially move forward his goals and desires in a very tangible, grounded way. But he's receiving that information. He's letting himself dream so that he can be open to the wealth of opportunities that are available, instead of limiting himself to just one specific way that things can happen, right? And so it's like the difference between projecting yourself into the future and considering the possibilities, right? So it's like, if you could dream of a perfect life, it's like allowing yourself to consider, what would that feel like? What would that look like? What would you have? What would you do? Right? And visualizing it, seeing it, connecting with the emotions that you would feel, and experiencing that now as though it's real, and accepting that it could very well be real. If you treat it as if it's real, you'll take action from that place, acknowledging that it is possible, which allows you to move toward that, even if it seems like it's not realistic, right? So it's kind of like allowing your inspiration and the action that you take in the real world to connect with those dreams and say like, hey, why can't I have these things now? If I can experience it now just by believing it's possible, then who's to say that it can't actually materialize in my physical environment, right? So it's basically saying like, leave the past behind and don't project into the future, but use your dreams for the future to help inspire action now, so that in the present moment you can start manifesting and building your dreams in a tangible way, which I think is really awesome. Your challenge for this month is showing up as the Three of Wands. So the Three of Wands is all about being on like a kind of a journey in a new direction, a more inspired, creative, connected kind of energy. Usually it has to do with creative outlets. So it could just be in terms of your own relationship to yourself, your personal hobbies, creative expression like art, music, poetry, dance, like that kind of stuff. Or it could be like working with your hands, anything that you're passionate about, the way that that inspires you to take action in the world around you and to incorporate that energy into your life, right? Because this is like what fuels your fire. And allowing yourself to follow a path that incorporates that into your life. And so this is about being at the beginning of a journey where it's like you're kind of starting to incorporate more of that. You're starting to see where it might take you. You don't necessarily know the path that's ahead of you. You don't know necessarily what the next step is, the next 4 or 5 steps. You don't know exactly what it's going to look like when you get to that end goal, but it's allowing yourself to connect to it and seeing that there's something there. So this is kind of like being at the beginning of the journey and waiting for your ships to come in. So it's like you're starting to see the results of this new approach or this new endeavor, this new outlet, right? This new energy, however that makes sense for you. So it's like you're starting to see all of the possibilities that are out there, and you're starting to see like, so it's like once you take a step out in a new direction, then you get to see like what being in that new energy and opening up to those possibilities connects you with, right? And so it's kind of like seeing that openness or that energy being returned to you, seeing a return on the investment in time, and maybe like if you've taken a chance, seeing that that's starting to pay off. And you're not there and you don't know what the end goal is, but it's kind of like that little bit of validation, that little bit of reward for your effort that encourages you to realize that you're on the right path, or you're, you know, leading a more heart-centered life is paying off for you. And so with that showing up as your challenge for this month, you might be waiting for proof, right? So it's like you might be hesitant to like take action or to continue taking action because you're not sure if it's going to pay off. You're not sure if you're crazy. Maybe it's like difficult to just be in the present moment and not have that validation, and you need to just kind of ground yourself in, you know, where your power is now, and trust that, you know, checking in with yourself and taking that inspired action is going to get you where you need to be. So this can be impatient. It can be that you're like impatient about having things like start to manifest, having your external reality start to be impacted by any changes that you're making or anything new that you've started. And it can also be doubt, like fearing that things are not going to work out, fearing that you're on the wrong path, fearing that these opportunities that you thought were there are not actually there. And the trouble is that when you start questioning yourself and stepping into a place of fear, it undermines your strength, it undermines your power in the present moment, and it starts to close you off to opportunity. So it's like whatever you think and believe is ultimately going to be true. So you can, if you're feeling challenged in this sense, however that might apply to you, it's about not letting that paralyze you and take you backward or make you shut down, because ultimately if you start to believe that it's not going to happen, or it's not working out, or that you're not seeing the efforts or the results of your efforts, then ultimately you're going to shut yourself off in such a way that you're not going to remain open to it. It's not going to be possible, right? So I would say just, yeah, this has a lot to do with like trusting the process, so to speak. and remembering that like all you can do, you can't do anything about the future, right? All you can do is your best right now, and to stay in your power. And so funny enough, the recommendation for kind of overcoming this energy is to like connect with this Queen of Wands energy, which is a very, very mature, very calm and focused, self-assured energy, but it's also really vibrant. It's joyful, it's expressive, right? So it's like she knows what makes her happy. She knows what, you know, sparks her flame. She has creative outlets. She's not afraid to express herself. She's not afraid to invest in herself and the things that make her comfortable, make her happy, right? And it's like, you know, she's sitting in this like nest of joy. She's surrounded by light and she's got this power in her hands, right? So it's like she kind of recognizes her personal power. She recognizes her ability to take these dreams and inspiration and the things that inspire her and to take action in such a way that that makes it that she can make it a physical reality. So your creative expression, your creativity, and whatever sparks that like enthusiasm in you likely has a lot to do with your ability to manifest materially, right? In the material world. So it's not just about putting your head down and working hard. Like the earth sign energy is just like slug it out, work day in and day out to like save and make money and to get to your goal. But it's like there might be either a creative component or it might be allowing more room for creative expression and like confidence in your ability to manifest like on an energetic level that might help you kind of step into manifestation and to stay in a place of inspiration and trust, even when you're not sure how things are going to turn out, right? Because if all you can see and know is what's happening in the present moment and you can't project into the future, then there's a lot of uncertainty there, and that uncertainty can breed fear, right? So the way that you combat fear is by staying connected to your inspiration, your hope, your energy, like what's right for you, knowing that you have the power at any given time to take action in a way that is going to be aligned with what you want, right? And so it's like, it's also a very like nurturing, like feminine energy. So it's like what you have, this spark can grow, right? And it can be shared with other people. And you know, she's focused on her power and what she's trying to create and what she can do. She's not worried about what's going on around her or what anyone else says or thinks. She's not worried about the future. She's like, I've got it right here, right? It's in your hands. It's just up to you to create that for yourself. So I think just connecting with a little bit more of that energy and that confidence and knowing that you can figure out what's right for you will allow you to take more stable, inspired action right now to kind of build that future without worrying too much about how it's going to unfold for you. So keeping yourself open. And the nice thing is the highest possible outcome for this month is the Sun, which is like it's the happiest card in the deck. It is happiness, joy, love, abundance. It's fun. It's good times. Like the sun is shining on you. It is the things, the people, the places that feel like sunshine on your face, right? It can be seeing your dreams, you know, come to light. And just allowing yourself the ability to connect with joy and happiness and abundance in the present moment, to experience more joy, to let loose and play, right? So it's a time of celebration and connecting to all of the things that make you happy. And so it could very well be that there's a lot of opportunity for that right now. And maybe the only thing that's holding you back is your ideas about what's available to you. So I think that's a really, I don't even need to expand on that anymore. I think that's a really positive card for you to get as the end result. So it's like, this is what you want, right? This is happiness all around, like a happy life, a fulfilled life. And it doesn't mean that everything is perfect, but it means that you can find the joy and you can find the joy and you can celebrate what you do have, even while you're still working, you know, toward your goals, right? So, and this is also like freedom from living in the past and projecting into the future, and just like mountaintop moment, like enjoy what you have right now. You know, why not? It's only going to make your life that much richer, more enriched. Okay, so I've got your affirmations. Happiness is a choice I make. Yes, just like you choose to focus on the present moment where your power is, you have the choice. So obviously not everything is going to be easy. Not everything that happens is going to make us happy. And I don't want to push like toxic positivity where you always have to say like, oh, I'm fine, I'm happy. But it's recognizing that even in the midst of the most challenging times, there are still things that we can find to connect to happiness and joy. There are still things that we can be grateful for. And it's kind of like having that baseline of things that we love and that we enjoy and that we can connect to that help kind of keep us grounded and help us get through the more challenging times instead of allowing our spirit to be broken and giving up on ourselves, you know? So it's keeping in mind that you have the ability to make choice. You can choose what you focus on, right? And so take the time to process whatever's happening and feel whatever you need to feel, but also it's important to have that kind of safe space of love and happiness and joy and the things that mean the most to you that can't be taken away from you to kind of return to when you need to recuperate from, you know, maybe beatings that life has delivered. And the last affirmation is, I surrender it all. So yeah, I think surrendering your expectations, your timelines, surrendering connection to the past and feeling as though things were better or you can or not being able to let go of what's happened in your past, or you know, being too fixated on the future and what you need to do to get there and trying to control things. I think just letting go, being present, taking inspired action in this moment and knowing that that's all you can do. The rest is out of your control, right? And so all you can do is your best in this moment to try and take action toward your dreams. And it's kind of like enjoy the process, enjoy what you can, and just surrender the rest and trust that you'll be able to keep yourself in balance as you move along your path, right? I keep on getting multiple cards for your last oracle card falling out, so I'm just gonna wait. Let's see if we can get just one for you. So this will be from the Crystal Spirits Oracle. It must be a very specific message because this is taking a while. Okay, so I've got one for you. Oh, you got Chrysocolla, which I believe I have. Yes, so I've got Chrysocolla right here. Okay, so I'm just going to flip in the guidebook and I'll read directly from there, and whatever resonates for you, yeah, I would take that. So the essential meaning is speaking your truth, heartfelt communication, and right speech. And it says, when you speak your truth, you're being true to your soul's desire to participate in the co-creation of a better world and a better life for you. Chrysocolla Spirit's message for clear, authentic speech that arises from your heart is this: the force of the conscious universe's love is here for you today as you choose to speak up and speak out, for you can be a clear channel for what needs to be said. Your voice is so very important, for you are a unique being with your own calling and destiny, and the conscious universe expresses truth through you. Practice choosing your words consciously as you voice a difficult truth or speak up on behalf of someone who has felt powerless for too long. Be assured that because of your commitment to heartfelt communication, your voice will ring out, cutting through the noise today. There's a relationship message. Trust and intimacy builds when we have the courage to speak our truth, and today Chrysocolla Spirit is here for you to support you in right speech. Speak your truth as you see it from the heart, using words that express the very best of you. Don't hold your tongue out of fear that you aren't enough or don't deserve to have your say. Practice telling the truth with love as a sign of respect for yourself and your experiences as you have lived them, and your emotions as you have felt them. Claim your voice and use it wisely and honorably, for many truths make up the collective truth we all share, and yours is no less valid than anyone else and deserves to be heard. Right, and then we've got prosperity message. We often remain silent because we don't want to hurt anyone's feelings or be embarrassed, but Chrysocolla Spirit has appeared to tell you that now is not a time to hold back your truth. Practice right speech, expressing yourself in a loving and honorable way as you discuss your business and financial dealings. Speak up about what you need and desire and what you are thinking and perceiving when it comes to the flow of money and your own desire to experience prosperity. You will be heard today. At the same time, recognize that any truths you hear from others are their truths and have value for all. Listen carefully, setting aside any defensiveness and tuning into the heart of what others are saying. You can learn much today if you are willing, much that will help you in your quest to have a firm financial foundation. And finally, there's a meditation. Chrysocolla is an excellent stone to use when we need assistance in speaking up and speaking our truth. Meditation with the stone helps open and clear the throat chakra, allowing words of the heart to rise up and be expressed. Chrysocolla teaches us to be aware that our words carry vibration through sound and asks us to be conscious of what vibration we are choosing to send out into the world. So I think, yeah, recognizing the power of your words, the power of your voice, speaking your truth, and recognizing that you deserve to have a say. So if you're in situations where you feel like you can't be honest, you can't speak up, or situations where perhaps another person tends to be valued more, their opinion, their position, their needs tend to kind of rule, and you're expected to go along with it. It's recognizing that it's important for you to share what you think and feel, what's important to you, and to do so in a fair and diplomatic and tactful and respectful way. To recognize that the fact that you experience that, it's something that's meaningful, it's something that you deserve to assert. And if you do so in an authentic and loving way, it's up to the other person how they receive you, right? So it's like, ultimately, if you are saying what needs to be said and standing up for yourself or for somebody else, if that's received poorly by your audience or the other person you're interacting with, that's on them, right? That has to do with their impressions, their healing. And perhaps speaking your truth will make it evident that the two of you are not in alignment, or maybe not good partners, business partners. Maybe, to have a little bit less involvement with each other would be ideal. And the other benefit of speaking your truth is that it allows you to further connect with and align with people who you do have something in common with. So perhaps there is a partner or a friend that you have a lot in common with, and by not sharing your truth, you don't know, right? You don't have the opportunity to connect on a deeper level and to experience renewal. So your power is here and now. Your power is in your truth, in your word, sharing that with others and allowing that to influence the decisions that you make. And I think that's a really lovely spot to leave it in for you, Cancer. I hope this reading was helpful. I'm hoping that May is going to be a great month for you. If you did enjoy this reading, the best way to support me is to like this video on YouTube. Beyond that, you can leave me a comment on my video. And if there's anyone you could think of that would be interested in these readings, you can feel free to share. Make sure you hop on over to my channel at Bright Soul Collective Tarot and check out my other videos. I have some timeless pick-a-card readings that you can access at any time that I put out, generally in addition to my monthly zodiac readings. And I'm hoping to be producing more readings as the months go on and I have a little bit more time. And make sure that not only you're subscribed to the channel, but you're also signed up for notifications so that you can stay up to date on new readings as they're posted. So Cancer, it's been a pleasure reading for you. Looking forward to this month for you. I can't wait to see what June has in store when we do your June reading. And in the meantime, I'm wishing you all the very best.